You've probably heard by now that Elmer Stewart Rhodes, the leader of the Oath Keepers, has been arrested for his role in the January 6th insurrection and failed coup. Getting arrested wasn't supposed to be part of the game, was it, Stewie?
Screw you!
And it was a game, wasn't it, Stewie?
Fuck you!
In light of current events, America, it's time we had a conversation about LARP. This is the Iron Troll Show, and I'm Zelio High.
And I'm B. Yacht, and while I have been known to occasionally role-play, I draw the line at wearing any item of clothing with a camouflage pattern. But I do like the eye patch.
Madonna wore it better.
Now, LARP, L-A-R-P, LARP, stands for Live Action Roleplay. A LARP is a game where the people involved, called Larpers, portray a character and act out the game in real life instead of on a game board.
A LARP is usually thought of as a fantasy game like Dungeons & Dragons, with monsters, magic, and supernatural events, and the LARPers dress up in costumes like being wizards and witches and warriors to portray their character.
Since a LARP takes place in real life, LARPs are unscripted. The LARPers improvise and interact with each other, staying in character as they play the game.
Even though all LARPs are based in fantasy, they don't have to be fantastical. They can be mundane, very much like everyday life, even though the LARPers are really just playing a part in a game. These mundane LARPs are becoming very popular among conservative social influencers and conservative politicians. Running a political LARP can be very profitable, and you get a lot of attention.
Like QAnon. QAnon was a LARP. I imagine the original goal of QAnon was to help get Trump reelected, so nobody won the game. But it did get a lot of people playing the game who were completely unaware it was a fantasy game.
The QAnon creators wove conspiracies together with real-life current events and people to create a game that sucked in the gullible and eventually took on a life of its own, with millions of people involved who thought it was all real.
And some still do.
I'm dead JFK Jr., and I certainly agree with that.
Oh, honey, we know. It's insane, isn't it? Another LARP was Trump's big lie. Claims of voter fraud and a stolen election was a LARP.
Trump knew the election was legit and that he lost. Everyone in his administration knew he lost.
The members of Congress who supported him in this lie knew it wasn't true.
There was no election fraud. In fact, 2020 was probably the most secure election in America's history. But like QAnon, the Big Lie LARP creators used lies and unethical people, including some who took part in the QAnon LARP, to create a fantasy that exploited the gullible, and once again, the LARP took on a life of its own, culminating with the storming of the Capitol on January 6th, mostly by people who didn't know they were taking part in a LARP.
Fortunately, nobody won this game either. The Big Lie LARP is over, even though Mike Lindell is still playing it, which shows you how much the LARP has devolved.
Some of the people who were involved in the Big Lie, though, have been LARPing for years, if not decades. In a court of law, Alex Jones admitted that his show was for entertainment purposes and that he was a performance artist. Alex Jones is a professional LARPer, folks.
The election of 2020 was not the first election where Roger Stone claimed there was voter fraud and that the election was stolen. Roger Stone is a career LARPer.
Elmer Stewart Rhodes has been calling for a 1776 revolution since at least 2014. His imaginary fight against the Illuminati and the New World Order was his LARP, and he blended it with the Big Lie, and he lost. Big time.
Not exactly how you pictured it, is it, Stewie?
Even fantasy games can have real-life consequences, right, Stewart?
It's all fun and games until somebody loses an eye.
That isn't funny!
No, Stewart, what's not funny is someone trying to overthrow my government. I hope they give you the full 20 years.
The attempted coup of January 6th is a historical event that will be discussed in future history books and school classrooms. And megalomaniac Elmer Stewart Rhodes will be mentioned and forever remembered as the first person arrested for sedition after the attempted coup. For us living through these historic times, Elmer's arrest could be the tip of the iceberg, the first of many indictments of high-profile individuals associated with the Big Lie LARP. It's our hope and expectation that when the J6 committee hearings go public, they will expose others who took part in the LARP, those who knowingly pushed the fantasy of a stolen election.
Of course, as a LARP, it was unscripted, with more improvisation than plans, but somebody was the game master. Somebody was calling the shots. We want to know who, and we want them to go to jail with Stewart.
That's our time for today. Thanks so much for watching.
Show us some love with a like, a follow, or by subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Bye, everybody.
y'all.